Hi, my name is Antonio Newton, your local realtor with the Newton Group at Coldwell Banker, and welcome to March Market Stats for 2022. Before we dive into today's video, please remember you can catch, I don't know if y'all heard that thunder, but it's thunder. You can catch all of our videos, and look, it got me distracted. You can catch all of our video series on our YouTube channel at the Newton Group. There you'll find our Time to Talk Tuesday, where we talk about tips and tricks and just a ton of information, whether you're a buyer, seller, or investor in this market. We also talk about things that you can do to get ready to buy or sell your house. We also have our interview series where we interview lenders, home inspectors, attorneys, business owners. That's after coffee, as well as our monthly market stats video as well. And you can connect with us on some of our other social media sites, such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and others. So let's dive in. Now we're talking about Columbia Northeast market stats. So that's going to be zip code 29223, 29229, 29016, and the Elgin portion of 29045. So let's dive in and see what the market stats is. Now, as we go through this data, please remember that the closed stats are actually a look back, because since we did our last market stats video for February, interest rates have went up. So interest rates are a little bit over 4.5% right now, which is some of the highest that we've seen in some years. But this data that we're going to go over may not accurately reflect that in terms of the closed transaction. Because if a deal closed in March, that deal was probably written in January or February. So it may be April, May, maybe even June before we actually start seeing the effects of what this recent interest rate hike will do. And as we know, the Feds are saying that they're going to have several more interest rate increases throughout the year. So we got to keep that in mind as those things happen, and we got to continue to monitor to see how the market is going to respond to that. So let's dive right in. Although I've already said that. So looking back at this year, and once again, Northeast, for March, we closed 309 deals, which is down 3% from what we did last year, where we did 319. The average sale price is still up 17% compared to March of last year. The average sale price was $299,038, so almost $300,000. I remember the days when our average sales price was under $200,000. Now our average sales price is at $300,000. When you look at the available inventory that we have, we're down 3% from where we were last year. So we have 588 properties versus the 607 that we had in March of last year. Now, if you know me, one of the main factors that I love to watch to indicate, how the market is responding is the days on the market. So how quick things are being sold, and then also that list to sell price. So how much buyers are willing to pay at or above list price. And so when you look at that for March of 2022, we see how it's trending. So the average days on the market was 28. So you compare that to what February was, it was 28 as well. So that has been consistent. So still 28 days on the market. And last year in March, it was 36 days. 36 days is still super fast. You got to remember an average supply is 6 months worth of inventory. So as things are only staying on the market for 28 days, less than a month, that shows you how drastic our inventory shortage is, which is why we continue to see the increase in prices that we've seen. When you look at the average list to sell price, so last month it was 100.21%. So 100.21%, people were paying above list price on average for properties. Is that trend continuing? Yes. This month it was 100.95%. So now people are even paying more than what they did last year for properties. And compare that to March. So March of last year, of 2021, it was 100.7%. So we see that, and there has been a little fluctuation, but for over 12 months now, people are paying pretty much at or above list price for properties. That's the market that we're in. Now, one factor I did notice this month was the average sales price dipped a little bit. So the average sale price in February was 487,000, and for March it was $298.37. So that dipped just slightly, and the reason why, as I dug a little bit deeper, was the number of transactions. So as we look at the chart that we look at, so you'll see for March we had almost in every category our numbers were up, except for the 0 to 100 and the 500 plus. But you still see where the bottleneck is. Look at that 100 to 300 price point, really 100 to 400 price point. But because the transactions were up, that slightly brought our average price down, because we sold, for example, here, we sold 54, where last month we sold 46 at the 100 to 200. Here we sold 135, where last month we had 98 that closed in the 200 to 300. And then here we closed out 83, where last month there were 68 that closed. So with having more transactions and they being lower than the average, that kind of brought our average price per square foot down. But we still, not price per square foot, list price to sell price, but we still see that people are paying more for the property than they did last month. So as you can see, it is still very much a seller's market. Inventory is still low. So how does this information affect you? Well, that vastly depends on if you're a buyer or if you're a seller or if you're an investor. Depending on your position, what role you're playing in the market, that's going to determine how this information affects you. If you're a seller, then obviously now is a great time to sell. Interest rates are going up, which is going to shrink the buyer pool, but you see you can still get good equity out of your property. If you're a buyer, this means that you're competing. So things are going to be a little more challenging, could be a little more difficult if you're not prepared. So it's important that you take the time to make sure you educate yourself, not on the home buying process, but on the area that you want to be in, on the price point that you want, on the amenities and features that you want. So that way you can be educated and you know what kind of offer to make, how aggressive to be in the offer, and whether to use an appraisal gap or escalation clause or earnest money or any of the other advantages that you can in terms of having your offer stand out from the bunch. And if you're an investor, how can you take advantage of that? Because we see the rental market is seeing increases as well. So if you want to talk about your specific situation, give us a call. We love to be able to talk with you, connect with you. I promise I will buy time out of my day unless I'm recording one of these fabulous videos and be able to answer any of your questions. And don't forget, whether you're here in South Carolina, whether you know someone here in South Carolina or throughout the U.S., we can certainly help them with their real estate needs. So don't be afraid to send us those referrals as well. Thank you so much for watching this month's March Market Stat 2022, and I look to see you next time. Take care and stay safe.